Hello, let's wipe code a landing page the right way. First, I'm going to show simple steps that everyone can follow, and after we are going to turn it into a real, scalable project. Let's go. First, we need to create a PRD, a project requirements document. We're going to use ChatGPT for that. So I came up with this prompt. Basically, we are going to make a landing page for a journaling app for late nights called Midnight. Here I put in the core idea and I asked ChatGPT to come up with a PRD. Then I said what the landing page should include, which in my case is a navbar, a hero, a list of main functions, some sort of a previews and entries that fade with time section. It's a preview of a special function of the app, a simple sign-up form using FormSpree, and a simple footer. For this project, we're going to use Next.js, ShadCN, and Tailwind. Okay, let's press enter. And now ChatGPT will generate a PRD for us. Of course, if you're making a real project, you definitely need to read through this, edit a bunch of stuff, and make sure it's exactly what you want. But in my case, since it's just a dummy project, I will just keep everything as it is to save time. Okay, the PRD is ready. Everything seems fine. So now we need to create a design description, a design brief based on the PRD. Actually, this looks pretty good. That's kind of exactly what I had in mind. Okay, now that both the PRD and the design brief are ready, we can start making the design itself. I like to use this platform called aura.build. It's pretty cool. Also, you can use Google AI Studio. And another one I really like is called V0 by Versal. In my opinion, it outputs the best looking code. So we just take this design brief, we copy it, and we paste it into all of our platforms. Also, something very cool about Aura Build is that you can upload screenshots, you can use the existing templates if you like something. There are a lot of options, but you need to pay for most of the functions. Let's put in our design brief into all three of them. And now we just let them work. Now that all of them are done, let's take a look. Aura.build first. I really like this field, especially how when you hover over it, it turns bright. I see a little issue right here. I feel like it should not be stacked like this. And the thing is, when you ask it to fix something, it often doesn't work. So let's check out Google AI Studio. Yeah, this one doesn't seem to have any issues. It's pretty good. And Vercel V0. In my opinion, V0 is the best one, so I'm going to go with this one. If you just want to create a landing page for your business and you aren't really interested in updating it, then you can just publish from here. But now we're going to turn this design into an actual project. First, I don't really like this thing, so we're going to remove it. We can just go into code and remove it straight from here. Also, something pretty cool that Aura.build has is that you can just go into design mode and you can change whatever you want right here. You do not need to go into code for that. If you like the code, if it seems acceptable to you, you can just use it as it is. But if you want to turn this into a scalable project that's easier to maintain, let's go to the next step. So let's create a new repository. I'll name it Midnight. And open it in our code editor. Since we're using Next.js, we put in this comment. Press yes. And we wait for it to install. So, the next step to setting up our environment is adding agent skills. They have been recently introduced by Versal a couple days ago. Basically, they make our agents act way more predictable. Here's how you install it. Also, sometimes it lags out and does not really add the correct agent. That's why I want to write -a GitHub Copilot, because that's the agent I'm going to be using. So let's close to install. We choose both. React Best Practices and Web Design Guidelines. Project. Yes. Yes. Okay, installed. It added a new folder with skills. And there are a bunch of rules, a bunch of text files. If you're interested, you can look through them. Now let's run dev server. Okay, so it's working. Another very important thing that I would recommend adding to your environment is the Context7 MCP server. You can go in extensions, find it right here, install it, then a little field will pop up, it will ask for your API key. You can get the API key if you sign up to Context7 website. In order to make sure that your agent always uses Context7, you need to write use Context7 in every prompt, or we can do it a different way, which I will show a bit later. Now let's create a folder called docs, and in there we are going to add our PRD and design brief files. Now let's go into our agent. For this, I'm going to use GPT 5.2 codecs. We add our design brief. We're going to use the plan mode based on the PRD and the design brief. Create a set of comprehensive docs and copilot rules to implement this project. Now we wait. Now it is done planning, it's time to implement. I accidentally kept the planning mode, so I cancelled it. Further considerations. Preferred location for new docs. Let's say B. Do you want a pro-specific README update? I mean, sure. Now we go to agent and we say implement. Okay, it's done implementing. If you're making a real project, it's very important to look through all of these rules to make sure if it's okay with you, if it's what you want in your project. I'm not going to do that to save time, but an actual project is very important. What we need to do now is to make sure that Context7 is always used. There is this example rule. Let's copy it. Well, we don't need such an expensive model for this. We can use something cheaper. And let's say, please add this to Copilot rules. Now as we see, Context7 has been added to Copilot rules. Now that we have set everything up, added skills, rules, docs, it's time to start implementing our design. For this, I would suggest using a rather strong model. GPT 5.2 Codex is pretty good. Claude Opus 4.5 as well. Let's go with GPT. So to save time, I took screenshots of the whole web page, and I'm going to ask it to plan all at once. But in a real project, of course, it's better to make each block separately. So I'm planning, let's check it out. It has two further considerations. It wants me to confirm the forms pre endpoint and asking me about the folder structure. I'll say I will add the endpoint manually, and I like first section more. Let's go to agent and say start implementation. So just a little note, asking to implement the project and pasting a bunch of screenshots is not the actual workflow you should be using in a real project. In a real project, you need to paste each screenshot separately, you need to annotate it, maybe even give a code example from V0 or whatever app you used to generate the design. Only if you do it that way, it will turn out exactly like you want. Otherwise, it will just be a quick copy, not the exact one. Well, the agent is working, let's set up our form spree. Here we get the endpoint, we just copy it from here, and later we will paste it into our project. So the website is ready. It looks pretty good, but not exactly like the V0 one. So first I want to add this background animation, which is on the original website. Here it is. Okay, let's take a look. Yeah, this does look way better. So we can go around and tweak our website to look exactly like the one we want. Or we could just take the code from there in the first place. But since it's just an example website, I'm not going to do that and we'll go straight to publishing. First, let's commit our changes. Now let's go to Vercel, add new, project, midnight, Next.js, deploy. So it's deployed and we're done. I hope I was able to show the workflow to you. I hope you understood how it works, how to set up the environment properly, and thank you for watching. Have a good day.